does your artwork? They're pretty wicked.
So originally it was a guy called what's he called? Not Thomas Hooper. I always get it wrong.
Yeah.
I always get it wrong. It's not Tom Hooper. It's well, that's really bad. Yeah,
I'll find a way to do a shout out somehow.
His name. It'll come to me eventually. But the guy who did the first two, so Reign of Suffering and Self Supremacy.
Yeah.
And then we've had Eliran Cantor, who is like pretty prolific metal cover artist at the minute. You know what I mean? So he did the other side, and he's done the new one as well.
Nice.
So it looks sick. It's kind of a different sort of each one's got like a pretty different color scheme, so they all sort of stand out from each other. You know, in like if you laid them all out, then hopefully it'd look cool.
Ours is just like every color under the sun. You can see.
Yeah.
I thought I'd put it up behind me because it looks better than just having my bedroom.
Why not?
But,
why not?
Yeah, no, I realized I was so busy. Like, okay, what can I ask him about, like interesting stuff that's not just music? And I was like, oh yeah, you're doing an album, like, you know, because obviously there's other, you know, obviously you're going to talk about music and that, but so have you got like release dates in mind, or is that kind of something that you're just working with this year with COVID and that, you know?
At the minute, yeah, so the first single will come out in March.
Oh, wicked, okay.
I guess I can't, well, don't know if I'm allowed to say the actual date, you know.
this might be out for at least a few weeks anyway, so
yeah, I don't know. To be honest, off the top of my head, I can't remember what the real dates are, but it's like March is the first single, then the next single April, and then like the third single with the release of the record will be like May.
Wicked, nice.
It's exciting. It's finally it's been pushed back a few times just because of like vinyl production and stuff like that. Stuff that everyone's like having to deal with if you're trying to release an album at the minute.
Yeah.
You know? So it's a bit of a fact. And then just trying to release it at like a good time, you know.
Yeah. I heard someone told me, I don't know if this is true, but it does sound right. I don't know if you know what I'm going to say about the vinyl. Apparently someone said that apparently because of Adele releasing her album, they ran out of vinyl.
I heard something like that, you know, as well, to be honest. Yeah.
Is that what you'd heard?
I've heard that, but I'm not really sure. Basically, there's like hardly any places that actually make vinyl, which is mad.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's popular now. Maybe
it's pretty popular, but I think in general, there's never really a backlog, and I think through the lockdowns and stuff like that, people were doing like re-releases and stuff, you know, to like make some cash or whatever, because you can't play any shows, which is fine, obviously. But it just created like a huge backlog of people wanting loads of vinyl, and there's just not many places that actually press it. So it just, you know, kept building up and building up and building up. So
yeah,
I think we're just like in the back end of that, and then I guess Adele releasing her record probably didn't help.
Adele shortly followed by Malevolence is
exactly, that's it. Yeah, wait, another 2-year waiting list after ours comes out.
yeah. So how long have you, because I know this sort of as a sort of musician myself, sometimes you get ideas that like back up for quite some time, you know. Have you got any on this record that you've had for maybe, or that you've been holding on to? Or obviously you've got a few records out, so I'm guessing a lot make it to them, but do you have any, is there anything on there that you've maybe been holding on to and you're like, finally it's on there?
To be honest, I generally try and start fresh, like every time there's a new release on the cards or whatever. But I think every now and again there'll be like a little part that's sort of like, you know, I'm like, oh, actually that riff that I had from whenever, like, would actually work really well here. So, you know, it's just about trying to lay it down. But most of the songs on this record I've had for at least 2 years, I guess. Like some of them are from the same sort of like block of songs I wrote for the other side, like EP. So some of them are just like carried over from that, and we just continue to work them into the album, you know. So that gave us a little bit of a head start. But I just tried to, this time around, I just tried, because I had so much time on my hands, I was just writing as many tunes as possible. You know what I mean, whether they were good or not. Yeah, it's like there's always a bit in there somewhere, like maybe the whole song's not that good, but you know, that riff sounds sick or whatever, you know, it's like got a bit of feeling behind it. So sort of like start Frankensteining all the songs together. Do you know what I mean? Out of the riff bank.
That's exactly how I do it. I kind of, you put something together and you realize half of it's naff, but actually, like, I went through my riff graveyard the other day because I thought, okay, I'm fed up of having all these on my. Firstly, I was like, I need to clear out about 300 gig of data off this laptop. So I was like, okay, let's just go through all the ideas. Just this is going to be painful, and it was. But there was there were like 3 or 4 ideas. One was really good, and I was like, whoa, I didn't know I left that, And then, did you find any of them got onto the like are now on this new record, or
not so much on
left
this?
Like, oh, hang on.
Yeah, not so much on this record. Like, I've never really had that much of a backlog before because the first 2 records, like, I didn't even have like a setup to like demo anything. I've never really had that until like recently. So, like, me and Charlie would just jam in the practice room, and that'd be it. Like, we'd write the songs like that. And so, like, there was never any recording of it or any sort of like note of it until we recorded it for the album, So it's just like in our heads. So I just basically use every little bit of riff that I could possibly remember to write those albums. You know what I mean? So sort of now is why I'll maybe like I've already using some that I had in the block for this album that's coming out in the next one because I'm already writing again for the next release, whatever that's going to be, but just trying to be a bit ahead of the game. So I guess my riff graveyard is like about to get a bit bigger. It's in the early stages at the minute,
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I mean, there's always that. I always feel like, okay, I need a fresh start. Like I want all the folders neatly laid out. It's all procrastination, just so that I don't have to actually write anything.
Yeah.
It's just like, my folders look great. Time for a cup of coffee now, I think. Like.
Yeah, that's it. I'll get to this in a minute. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it's obviously like I'm guessing, is it been pushed back at all because of COVID and that, or is this kind of roughly when because you guys have obviously over the last particularly over the last sort of year and a half or so, because you guys sort of popped onto my radar when you not long before you played Download, and our bass, I think I mentioned when we met first, that our bass player's absolutely mad about you guys. So I knew who you were, but like I'd not actually seen you guys around that much. Not that you weren't.
No,
like cool. It seems like you've had a bit of a mad last year with the was it like the unholy trinity of festivals of Bloodstock, Download, and
it seemed like that. Yeah, it seemed like that did us a lot of good, to be honest, which is wicked. Like, I'm very grateful to have the opportunity to play all those festivals in one year. I mean, especially straight off the back of like COVID and stuff, so like everyone was gagging for it. Do you know what I mean? So like every band who got to play or whatever, or even just any gig, has been like a blessing, hasn't it, from what's been going on previously. But yeah, I just think I guess the album's been pushed back a few times, but not necessarily because of COVID, just more because it'd be wiser to leave it a little bit longer. Do you know what I mean? Because the rules of I guess it is to do with COVID, I suppose, but the rules like changing so much meant that like it was unsure whether you could actually like
can we release music.
Yeah, well, that's it. It's like, well, it's like you wouldn't guarantee to be able to play any shows because the rules might change, but now there's like more, well, there's stuff happening all the time now, in England anyway, so at least you could release something and then tour it, because if it just goes dead and you can't do anything, it's like, fair enough, you can put stuff online and things like that, and that obviously does work to a certain extent, but you want to play some gigs, don't you? Do you know what I mean? And like,
I know a lot of bands where they've got the credibility on sort of online, but then you don't see so many people at the shows, and I think you've got to have people at the shows because and ultimately nowadays it's where you make the money, isn't it? Like more so anyway. Sort of there's other places obviously, but you're going to make more. You're making it more there comparatively to where it used to just be the music, just sell the CDs, and those would obviously be a money maker. But now you can't.
Of course. Really, Well, like for us, is like in the band, it's because we never really like, as I say, I didn't have a setup or anything to demo any music, so it's never really been like a band that's been that online or like, I don't know. Well, it is, but it's not. It's sort of become that because it has to these days. Do you know what I mean? Whereas before we just play all the time. And that meant that like people would see it, you know, all the time. So we'd be at gigs, we'd be at your local pub, or do you know what I mean, up and down the country, and like all the time, and they're going across to Europe and stuff, just constantly playing gigs, like to whoever really. And then over time, like obviously we've been in the band. Well, I've been in the band since I was 14, so I'm 27 this year, so it's
Nice.
a while. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it means that like we've basically been playing gigs since then. Do you know what I mean? In whatever capacity. So you build a following like sort of
Yeah.
organically, rather than pushing it out on the internet before you've played a gig, basically, which is just a newer way of doing it, I guess. You know, I guess nothing wrong with that, and it works these days, especially because of the restrictions of not being able to like play gigs for ages. But I guess you still sort of have to start from the sort of the bottom. Like you might have a slight step up because you've got loads of views or whatever. But then, yeah, like you said, that doesn't mean, it doesn't always translate into people at your shows, which is, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's like a weird thing, I guess, that's come out of it. But who's to know until you try it? You know?
I've seen a few suspect music videos. I'd never name them, but where they've got about 100,000 views and about 8 comments, and you think, like, it's interesting. It's kind of like selling 100,000 tickets and then 8 people turn up to your show. It's like, you know.
Well, yeah, it's one of them, and it's it's each to their own. Like I don't really.
I know people have their ways of doing it, don't they?
Yeah, it's not for me to comment on like how you want to start your band or run your band. You know, it's like I see it as it's just everyone's trying to do the same shit. You know, so I'm not trying to compete with people. I just do my own thing. Well, we do our own thing. You know what I mean? And then they're doing theirs, I guess. You know, all the power to them if it's going to work.
Yeah, if it works, yeah, credit. I mean, fair enough. Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean? When we started, it was like Instagram wasn't a thing, and like, do you know what I mean? Facebook was like, I guess, fairly primitive to what it is now, and like,
was MySpace around? Were you MySpacing? Because you're only a couple of years older than me, but I was never on MySpace, so I don't know.
Oh, really? Fair enough. Yeah. Well, we were all over MySpace, mate. But like, do you know what I mean? It wasn't never like a big thing. You know what I mean? It was just like that was what bands had then. You know what I mean? That was it.
Yeah.
And they had like a player, and you could put your tunes on it. So it was basically just like sort of like a Spotify or like a Bandcamp, and like there would be links to other bands that sort of are similar to you or whatever. Do you know what I mean? So it's yeah.
Do you ever because obviously your Spotify shows you who, you know, like if you like this band, you might like. Do you have any ones in your if you go on Malevolence on Spotify, have you got any on there that you think like no problem with it, but you kind of think we're not like them, you know? Or is it all pretty in line? Because I know we've got way less listeners than you, so obviously when it comes up, we go on our Spotify like, who is that? I don't know who that is. Like, we don't sound like them.
So, yeah, to be honest, I've been through a few times and like checked it. Do you know what I mean? And just been like, oh, who is it? Who are the related artists to Malevolence? And to be honest, most of them are just like bands that we know. You know?
Oh,
so
that's good. Yeah,
it's just like people who we play shows with, which I guess is fine. You know?
Yeah. Makes
but
sense,
if it was like up to me, it'd be like Lamb of God and fucking Pantera and shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The oh yeah. So when you're talking about like sort of get started, and you know how we talk about making money and stuff with the band, with the I know obviously the merch side of things is a big part of your band's, well, your whole sort of band life. Is that something that came out of necessity for like, okay, we've got to make some money? And then, I mean, obviously you've built something quite impressive with it, but like, did it start out of, oh shit, we've got to make some money? Or did it start with like, we're all really actually quite excited to do this stuff anyway? Obviously it might be a bit of both. But.
Yeah. Well, when we started, like, I remember the first time we got some t-shirts printed, like, I don't know if you remember the band Demoralizer. They were like a sort of fairly local, like, local band, you know what I mean, back in the day. I think they're from Hull.
Yeah.
But like their singer like printed us like 25 t-shirts with just like we made the design. It was just like a rip off Google or something, and we just changed the text so it said Malevolence on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At the time it was fine, and he did us like I think 25 t-shirts or something, and it was like and we managed to sell all of them. Like I think at the gig, I think we played in like Scunthorpe or something.
Yeah.
But I guess it's a bit of both with the like, is it for like making money, or do we just do it? Cause it's just like a thing that you want to have, innit? Like when you don't have any merch, you play in the shows with the other bands who do. You know, you want people to be wearing your t-shirt at the shows, and then in turn it makes you a bit of money, and it means you can buy more and then expand on what you're doing, or do you know what I mean? You've got more money to, like, because at the time you don't get paid for gigs, or you get paid very little, so it all gets eaten up in petrol or something like that. So if you've got a t-shirt and you can sell it for a tenner or whatever, 15 quid, 20 quid, whatever you want, like, then it just adds a little bit more value to it, doesn't it? And you've got more money to do, you know, go further or travel further, and then eventually hopefully someone will say, oh, I'll give you 50 quid or 100 quid for your gig. Do you know what I mean? And it just sort of builds up like that, I guess. So it's sort of a necessity, isn't it, rather than like just something you want to do. Like, you do want to do it, but
yeah, because you guys have obviously got quite a lot of. I've seen you sort of like, is it you taken certain brands and like you customize the shirts? Is that how you? I didn't quite follow it, because I'm so. I mean, look at me. I'm just wearing this boring green jumper. Like, I'm not clued up. You know, is it? Do you kind of? Is that something that? Because I haven't seen other bands do that, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, so like generally a lot of American bands will sort of do the, you know, like Champion or Carhartt or something like that. So, but those brands like over there, like it's easy and cheap to get the garment. Do you know what I mean? So, and like, I guess that's probably why not many UK bands do it, because it is more expensive and you do have to sort of find the garments from different places and they're not as easily accessible. But it's just a case of buying a blank and printing on it, like the brands that we print on and stuff, or like Carhartt or Nike or, you know, Champion or something like that. They all sell their clothes as that sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if like the school you went to had like a Nike PE kit or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like they have ranges of clothes that like they sell for that reason.
Malevolence PE kit. You got the scoop here.
We've pretty much got one already, to be honest. We've got footy
I've seen
shirts.
your sportier looking shirts. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. We've got real footy shirts, mate. Nike footy shirts. You get your name on back.
That's wicked. Are you a football fan or?
Me? No, not at all.
No. I'm technically a Tottenham supporter, and I feel like I sort of made a mistake there. I remember I watched them for all of about a year, and then I thought, oh, this is good, because I think they were doing well. I was like, yeah, this is good, and then I realised I've just signed up for the wrong team here. But I kind of want to just change. I'm very tempted just to sort of flip flop to like the opposite, to flip flop to Arsenal and just annoy football fans, just to be like, I don't care.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, to be honest, mate, I couldn't tell you if Tottenham are good or not. So, I mean,
neither could I actually at this rate. I wish I could.
Nah, one of them for me. I was just, well, I don't mind having a kick about, you know what I mean? But following it and shit like that, I'm not bothered. Like, I was just in my bedroom playing guitar or like skating instead when I was a kid. You know what I mean? Climbing up trees and shit.
Is is the hardcore scene kind of, and skating and like the kind of hardcore scene, because you guys you've obviously got a lot of like that hardcore kind of sound, but you've also, there's a lot of other influences there. But are they kind of linked? I know this is all just purely from people I know. I know a lot of hardcore kids skate, and I know a lot of skaters are hardcore kids. You know, is that like a linked kind of scene?
Of course, yeah. Like, I think like punk's always been quite a big thing in like skateboarding. So punk and hardcore are sort of like coupled. And then these days, I suppose, like, it's like almost, I guess, the fashion element of it. Yeah. Like, sort of the same. Do you know what I mean? Like, the same sort of brands are like cool, especially now that like a lot of skate companies like Supreme and Palace and stuff like that are like very well, they're like streetwear, aren't they? Like, or even high fashion, like nowadays. Do you know what I mean? They're doing collabs with like Gucci and people like that. Do you know what I mean? So it's like the culture is quite widespread, I suppose, these days. Whereas before, I guess skateboarding and stuff like that's always been linked with like the alternative scenes. Do you know what I mean? Whether it is metal or hip hop or, do you know what I mean, punk, hardcore, whatever.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater kind of.
Basically, Well, like you watch skate videos, like it's hip hop or like hardcore. Do you know what I mean? That's playing. So, and
Got to find your way onto one of those Tony Hawk's soundtracks.
Oh yeah,
That'd be
one
wicked. That would be a milestone. I'd be happy beyond belief if we got on one of them. That'd be awesome.
Of course, that's it. Yeah, yeah.
Like,
100%, dude. That'd be sick.
yeah, no, that'd be wicked. Did you get much of a chance to with your new? Because you were talking about like you know, prior to sort of the internet and actually demoing with the technology you got now, you kind of just a lot of it would be getting in the room and like playing it. Have you had a chance to do that with any of the new material on this recent tour, or have you kept it all under wraps until release?
So we played one, the first single that's going to come out. So we did the sort of like smaller, just like more intimate shows at the end of last year.
Yeah.
Just around the year off, really, like, which was cool. And just to play some gigs, like as I said before, we've always just been a band that's played shows. So like we just want to do it. You know what I mean? As soon as we can. But yeah, we filmed the music video in Sheffield, like, and basically just put on a show outside for one of the first single that's going to come out.
So I saw that. I think I know what that's gonna. Yeah, I've seen that. Looked awesome with the people in the train, like looking at.
Yeah. That was just a coincidence that they
that's
like.
Mad
stopped.
though. Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, I assumed you didn't hire one, but like.
Yeah.
That's
what I mean.
And a half.
Yeah, we played that tune, and then like the intro, sort of like the first track on the album, is basically just like pretty much just like a breakdown. So like we just opened with that just to like spice it up a little bit. Do you know what I mean? I guess it just gets a little bit of hype going. Because like, to be honest, so I guess some people are quite precious about not playing all the new songs and stuff, especially these days with like people can film it on the phone and
it's all there, isn't it? Yeah.
I guess put it on the internet. But like I think the internet's so like the turnaround of things is so fast, it'll be gone in like a few days. Do you know what I mean?
Think if you were maybe like if you were Billie Eilish or someone and you play it, that might cause some trouble, you know, because she's just so phenomenally worldwide that like you know.
I also think that they probably already do stuff like that though. Just release, you know, what if she's like in the studio, or like, I don't know, some rappers or something like her in the studio, and they just like do the bars for like the new tune for like 16 bars or something, and just put it online. Everyone's going absolutely mad. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I cannot wait for this, and it gets your name circulating, you know. So it's like actually probably quite a smart move.
Yeah, I saw there was John Mayer released a single. Is it Stop This? No. It's about a train. I can't remember what it was. He seems to sing about trains frequently. I don't know. But yeah, I know he released something like a little snippet on his Instagram, and some people actually like completed the song before hearing it. Like wrote the whole song around that little snippet. You know, like tried to predict the. You know, you might look on YouTube and find something a bit too close for comfort, like from
maybe. Yeah. I guess that's cool, though, isn't it? You know, it gets people interested, and they're like waiting to hear it. Then, you know.
Yeah. It's cool when I suppose you must see fairly often people playing your songs. It must be quite cool. You know, like on guitar or something playing the.
Yeah. I get tagged in them quite a lot, to be honest, which is wicked. Like, I think. I don't know. I'd like to think that like the riffs are right cool, and you know what I mean. And like people like would like to play them. Do you know what I mean? If they want, do you know what I mean? And I think it's cool. I literally ask people to do it. You know what I mean? Sometimes be like, you know what I mean? If you play guitar like and you like the riffs, or if you bought a tab book like from the merch store or whatever, then it says in the tab book, you know what I mean, tag us in it. Like if you're gonna put a thing up, whether it's on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook or anything, whatever, Twitter, do you know what I mean? It's like, tag us. It's cool. Like, I want to see it. Like always. Like Charlie likes to see the drum ones, you know what I mean? There's vocal ones as well. So anything like that is like always very welcome, and it's cool. I think like to see people like inspired or want to learn the music that you've produced is cool. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's the same as what I did when I was young. You know what I mean? Learning Lamb of God or Pantera or something like that. You know, it's like
I can hear them. I can hear them in the playing. I always find it a little bit. I never quite like it when you listen to podcasts and they're like just singing the praises of whoever's on too much, because it gets a little bit. It's like, you know, if we were just sat in, it's like it's different. If we were just sat in a room and I was just like, you're great, it would feel a bit weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
But no, I can hear it. Like it's that kind of bluesy thing that you hear in Pantera, that kind of, and Lamb of God, to be fair. It's
Yeah,
definitely in there. What do you kind of do you have like a kind of some idea of like when it's finished, or do you listen to, when do you listen to a riff and go, yeah, that's done, like that's gonna make it onto it? Is it just a conscious thing, or do you just kind of, is it just like, no, it sounds right, that'll do, not that'll do, but you know what I mean, like, is there like a sort of checklist, like, okay, I think we could do one of these kind of songs, one of these kind of songs, or is it more just like, let's see what I can get together and see how it turns out?
More like that, to be honest. It's sort of never really thought about like this is going to be this sort of song. Do you know what I mean? I think like in general, I'd like to think that the songs sort of cross over like different styles of, I guess, metal or hardcore, whatever you want, like throughout the songs. So maybe there'll be like the riff is like sort of in the vein of an artist, or I've got like, the song or that bit that drops is like taken from something else, like the idea. But I'm not really trying to like, this one's going to be like the radio one or whatever, or this one's going to be like the death metal one.
You kind of set yourself up for failure, I think, in some ways doing that, because sometimes you might think, I know for a fact there are two songs, I do know I say that and then I'm actually going to just completely go against it, but I know I really want to write one more, because we're not like we're kind of I don't know, we're not on the heavier side of things compared to some, and like I really want a thrashy riff and like a stompy riff. We don't really have either of those two. Like stompy is in like 4 on the floor kick drum, like kind of thing. One of them and a thrashy riff somewhere, and we haven't got them just yet, and I kind of feel like that would be a cool little
100%.
Yeah,
things like that I would do. Do you know what I mean? It's like what's going to come next, or maybe that's how I'd maybe start a song. Do you know what I mean? Like, or the idea of the song, not necessarily have that part at the start of the song, but like generally, I don't know, like generally riffs just like come to me when I'm doing other shit. Do you know what I mean? Like walking about,
washing the dishes, like shit.
yeah, exactly. Like, definitely save that one. But then it's like sort of know like what the notes are going to be. If I have a riff in my head, I can like see how it's going to be played.
Do you get them? Oh, go on.
No, I was just going to say before I'd like have to get the guitar out, so I'll just kind of save it or like voice note it. Do you know what I mean? If I'm like can't get to the guitar.
Sorry, I keep doing this. This is the internet for you, isn't it? I was going to say, do you get the ideas in your head? Like, do you hear a melody? Because I couldn't tell you the last time I actually just like heard a melody. Certainly not that then went into a riff. I can sometimes do it if there's already, say we had like a chord progression and we needed a vocal melody. I can sort of, sometimes I might hear one in my head when there's already a foundation, when I've already got but can you sort of hear a riff or like or anything in your head before you play it on the guitar, or do you have to sort of hear it off the instrument first and then?
No, so the riff, that's what I already have the melody, because that's what will come to me. Do you know what I mean? It's a sort of like a feeling that it produces would be the riff. Say like the self-supremacy riff or whatever.
That's a cool riff.
You know what I mean? It's like fairly groovy or whatever. And I came up with that just like on a tour. It was just like I sort of found the like, I guess I don't even know what the chord is, just like the meow chord. Do you know what I mean? I guess
try
it's
and
like
watch Theory Brains trying to turn on there. I don't even know.
It's basically just like a fifth in it, basically, like with
whatever it is. Yeah, I don't know why I wasn't trying to question you. Like, yes.
No, it's cool.
No, I was just trying to think of myself.
It sounded cool, and then play like, just build it up from that bit, wow. So when I found that sort of like weird chord and how it clashed with the second fret, it sort of becomes a little bit easier. And then I know it's like bluesy, so you sort of base it around the pentatonic, and then the melody sort of just comes out of that. Do you know what I mean? I know what the riff is like, kind of sassy or whatever.
Yeah.
Or slutty, as Jim, who produces our album, would say.
We've had all sorts of words attributed to in the studio. Just
But and then So to me, like a sassy or bluesy riff, well, sassy or slutty riff will be like bass, like pentatonic, and you'll get the blues notes out and stuff. And then, you know, that's you like, that'd be my basis. And then I can extend it from there or whatever's going to go on, you know, use some like chromatic notes just to like create a bit of tension or something in, you know, so it's not just plain.
Yeah, there's so much you can do with five. Well, I say so much you can do with five notes. Loads of people have done plenty with it. But do you find nowadays? I know this. I know I do all the time. You scroll through Instagram, you see these guys just writing and playing stuff that has every right to be like riff of the year. And you know, do you find it difficult kind of watching that, and then you sit down with your guitar and go, oh no. Like, do you ever get that, or are you quite happy? Can you sort of separate a bit and like you can watch and you can admire other players and go, that's cool, I'm gonna do my thing?
I don't generally, I try not to think about it too much, really. Like, I appreciate that there's tons of amazing guitarists, loads that are way better than me, do you know what I mean? But I don't, like, there's a lot of people on Instagram who just like do covers of stuff and like pull a funny face and get loads of views. So
yeah,
the whole thing's kind of like, I don't, insignificant. Do you know what I mean? I just don't care really. Like, it's cool if people see shit, but it's not like, I don't know. It's like, that's the job, is to be on Instagram, not to write music. Do you know what I mean? So like, whatever. I'm not bothered about that. I appreciate that people are really good at their instruments, and that's wicked, you know. But you can fake so much shit on videos like that. Do you know what I mean? Just recording stuff and then putting the audio over your video of you playing it, and everyone's like, sounds amazing. Like, he's so tight at playing.
Well, yeah, of course it does.
Exactly. Yeah, I've mixed the whole thing. Do you know what I mean? And then put it over me playing. Fair enough. I recorded the take, so it's in time or whatever, and you've got maybe some like noises that make it sound a little bit more natural, but you can't tell, can you? So who knows? Like, try not to get in my head about it too much. And I don't know, like, I think it might be different on yours. I guess the algorithm like sends you stuff you want to listen to or whatever, but generally it's sort of like really heavy, like genty, mad shit, and then there's like, you know, loads of fucking weird chords and like mad tapping and stuff like that, and it's like, that's not what I play. So but that's what I get shown. So I'm just like, I don't play that, and I'm not really interested in making something like that. But I do want to make this. Do you know what I mean? That is what I've successfully made for a few albums. Do you know what I mean? So whatever. Like, I just,
you say that, but I saw you bring out the little tap in the is it in the other side in the acoustic set? I was looking. I saw you brought that out recently. You cut because
I'm not again tapping. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. No, nothing. That wasn't a dig. That was a fair play. I couldn't do that.
Oh, mate, yeah. No, that's just in the song, and I was like, I don't know how on the acoustic. I just have to go for it, you know. Like,
Did you get at all nervous before that show? Because it's obviously a bit different, a bit more intimate. Like,
yeah, I was actually like pretty worried about it, to be honest. Like, me and Con like jammed for like 3 hours maybe, like the night before.
Yeah. And
like one of the songs, like the Stain cover that we did, we just sort of got that one together like in that jam session. I mean, it was like, oh, we'll just do another one. We're like, all right, sound, it'll be all right. Like, we know the words, I think. Like, you know what I mean? It's pretty easy to play.
No, it went down really well. I thought. Again, I don't like just singing praises for no reason, but it did go down really well. I thought. Yeah, it was a good shout as well.
Yeah, of course, man, of course. But I was nervous about it, like, especially because it was seated. Like, we were like, oh, can you like move the seats? Because it's just gonna be really weird. Do you know what I mean? It's like loads of people just sat. It's dead quiet.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And you're just sat, and then like, I don't usually sing either. So like, to do like, I was in here, like when we were jamming it, I was just like, oh sweet, like, yeah, I'll just do these like really high like falsetto harmony things, and like, it sounds cool. Everyone's like, you gotta do it, and they're like, oh well, all right. So, but pull it off, it was all right. Do you know what I mean? A little bit shaky when you listen back to it, but
no.
Overall, it was good. Yeah.
No one expects, like, although saying that, Dan from Tesseract, his voice is pretty phenomenal.
Yeah,
like, pretty
exactly.
flawless. Well, I was about to say no one expects perfection, but actually having listened to him, that was pretty. He was pretty on it, to be fair.
Yeah, he's definitely got a good voice. Way better than mine. Anyway.
Well, I mean, I think he's better than most people in all. I wouldn't put yourself down on that one, to be fair.
Yeah. It's all right. I'm not trying to be a singer anytime soon, so it's cool.
I can guarantee I've messed up a Tony Iommi thing worse. I played when my music school opened. Obviously, it's in Birmingham, which is like Sabbath, you know.
Of course.
And Tony Iommi was like I think he funded a scholarship, and he sort of I don't know whether he helped fund it in any way, but anyway, he was part of the opening. And he was there on the first day. So I'd met him prior to that because they did a little secret little meeting thing where you could meet Tony Iommi. I was like, this is pretty cool. Got him to sign some of my dad's old like Master of Reality and Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. So they're signed and framed back at my parents' house. But nice. I remember I was the first person up for this like live performance workshop. And I was thinking, wouldn't it be pretty cool if I just like whiz this solo and look up and see Tony Iommi watching me? And I ruined it. I played it so badly. Like, because I remember I was actually quite confident, and then I went up on stage, and the other guitarist was like dicking around, like, "Oh, so you can play that bit, and I'll play." I was like, "Can we just play the parts?" And then I just got a bit thrown off and messed up. And of course, I look up, and he's there politely clapping, but like,
yeah.
And the thing is, I applied for the scholarship, and I didn't get it. I'm just, oh, thank God. If I'd got that scholarship, I think I would have had to give it back. Like,
oh man,
it was just. And then I need to redeem myself because I feel like one day that might be funny, but right now it still hurts.
It still hurts.
Like 3 or 4 years ago. So
it's cool. Yeah, you'll get a chance to redeem yourself. Don't worry. I'm sure.
Well, yeah. I mean, they've done their last tour now, haven't they? So there's never going to be sharing a stage, but maybe one day he might see him about and go, you guys are cool. Yeah. From Birmingham.
I remember that guy. Fucked my solo at that time.
It wasn't one of his, to be fair. That would have been worse. It wasn't one of his solos. It was just.
Oh, right. Okay.
It was, I can't remember. It was a bluesy, quite a famous bluesy. I think it's an Albert King song.
Oh, right. Nice. Fair enough.
Still mess it up. But yeah, but speaking of, I'm trying to find all these neat segues into things. Speaking of idols, your Trivium appearing with Trivium in the, well, obviously a little further into the future now than unfortunately it may have been. But how's that?
Yeah, man. I get cool. Excited to do it. Do you know what I mean? It's a big moment for the band, I guess, and like Trivium were always like one of my favorite bands, and you know, like when Ascendancy like came out and stuff, it was like that was like my thing for like multiple years. Do you know what I mean? I know like all the songs on it. Do you know what I mean? Like on guitar and stuff. So, and I just learned them, and it was like that was like my first sort of like my gateway into like metalcore sort of thing, I guess. You know, with like screaming and just like heavier riffs, things like that. Do you know what I mean? And like just more metal before I just listened to like, well, things like Sabbath and, you know, like AC/DC and like rock, basically Motorhead and you know what I mean, things like that. And or before that it'd be like new metal, you know, like Linkin Park and Limp Bizkit and stuff. So I
was gonna say that I absolutely love Dad Vibes. I think that's
of course,
brilliant song. That could have come out 20 years ago and that would have been still like,
man,
it still would have fit in with everything. I think it's great.
Exactly. I think it's cool that he's doing stuff again. You know, it's and it's sort of like a little bit more of a nod to the early.
Well, the whole album's called Limp Bizkit Sucks, isn't it? Or like Still Sucks, or Limp Bizkit Still Sucks, or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, like
exactly.
if anyone can do that. But I love how they've redeemed themselves just by like Fred Durst has entirely redeemed his whole image by dressing like a dad. I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah.
And for the record, and I'll go on.
I was just gonna say, you gotta like be what you are, innit? You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's getting a bit old now, isn't he? I remember I am actually one of the few people who, you know, everyone goes, "Oh, I always loved Limp Bizkit." It's like, no, you didn't. You were taking like 3 weeks ago. I always thought they were cool. I had to kind of protect Limp Bizkit. I was like, no, they got good riffs. They're catchy. Like,
yeah.
Stop shitting on Limp Bizkit.
They definitely went through the phase of like everyone hating on them.
They got the Nickelback treatment, but maybe not quite as bad. But they definitely got that. What it astounded me, I looked at their Spotify like not that long ago. I was like, they get more plays than Slipknot on Spotify from memory.
Really?
Anyway, don't quote me on that, but I didn't realize they were quite so still, like having not produced albums for you know, until recently. Slipknot have been cracking on. Don't get me wrong, I'm not putting Slipknot down. I'm just saying I didn't quite realise the size of Limp
I
Bizkit on
guess
Spotify at least. But
maybe
it might just been
the like resurgence of the band has like hyped them up again. Whereas like, and I think that sometimes that wave like rides a bit higher than if you've continued to produce music, you know. It's like, especially because like people miss it, don't they? And then when you come back, everyone's like, oh my God, they've got a new album. It's kind of cool. And then it's like, it sounds like the old one's sick. Let's listen to the old one. Do you know what I mean? So you get way more plays off those ones as well. And like people remember how sick it was, and it takes them back to like the nostalgia of it. Do you know what I mean? And I think there's a lot to be said about having a comeback.
Yeah. Well, hopefully never have to. But if you're going to, well, I suppose it's more it sounds more voluntary with them. But if you're ever going to have to, it's a way to do it. It's the way Fred dressed as a dad. Find
that's
find
it.
your mojo.
I guess if you're as big as Limp Bizkit, then it's going to always be a pretty good thing, you know.
Well, I guess when you've got as much money as they probably earn from that, they don't need to do it. So they're probably doing it for the right reasons, if that makes sense. Like they're doing it because they want to, because, you know, it's not like they're going, oh, we've run out of money here, let's go and, you know, it's not as if Fred Durst and the crew and all of them didn't earn a lot of money out of all that music. So I like to think they're probably doing it for,
wouldn't even like
because they want to. Yeah. Which is great. I think, but yeah, there's a couple of things I actually I'd written, like I said, I've written a few things down, like, and then I realized I hadn't even written anything about like new album, you know. But I was looking at the because I was so preoccupied on like, okay, let's try and find some interesting things to talk about, and then I realized I probably should mention, you know, the important things you're doing. But so I saw you went to Japan, right? A little while ago. Was that long before COVID or not so long? Or
when was that?
Before COVID could have been like 20 years ago. You could.
Well, actually, I'm trying to put it into perspective. Actually, it might be longer than passes up here from it, which may have the date on it. Oh, it doesn't have the. Oh, it's the wrong side.
I can see some posters or something about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I just make the little frames and stuff. There's a few up there, like from up here as well, just of like little things that I've collected over the years. You know what I mean? Just basically just like tour passes and random flyers and stickers and you know, like little things like fucking like, I don't know, coins from like casinos and shit that we've been in, or like, you know, cards from like stupid.
If you're keeping the coins, you're not doing well.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, I'm not much of a gambler anyway, but you know what I mean, it's a little token, isn't it? Yeah, that was funny.
Didn't realise it's like 10k there.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, definitely not. Yeah. But yeah, I went to Japan. That was like I think that was 2019. Like was it 2019? 2019? Yeah, it would have been 2019 because I think The Other Side came out in 2020. And that was just after we got back from Australia.
Oh, wicked.
But yeah, so we did like Southeast Asia and Japan at the same time, just because like you're over there, you know, so you may as well. But yeah, that was sick. It was in 2019.
Yeah,
and that's where we filmed the Remain Unbeaten video. In Japan, which is sick. It was a good mad experience, big culture shock.
Yeah, are the shows the kind of similar? Because I know especially when in the shows you get people like windmilling around and stuff. Does that translate all the way over to Japan? Do you get exactly the same thing?
Yeah, man. People are like, the vibe's quite different. You know, I think when like Western bands go over there, it's kind of, they like treat you so well. Oh, you know, sweet. It's like but yeah, there's a lot of like, the moshing is still exactly the same. I think it's like a universal thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because of the internet or whatever, you know, people do exactly the same thing. But over there, they've just like come straight from work sometimes in like full suit. Yeah, I mean, it's just sick. Like, and yeah, I mean, they're up for partying, like they're very respectful, and like the shows are wicked, you know, and they're like, they just love it. It's sick.
Yeah,
it's nice to be able to go and play there. You know, it's can't wait to go again whenever that may be.
Yeah, well, it's got because I was sort of hesitant to ask about future plans in case you've got any sort of things that you can't sort of, I don't know where if you've got any things that I'm assuming you've got something that you kind of, something up in
Yeah,
there that you're.
there's a lot of things that like well, they're just not being announced, so
Yeah,
it's like I can't really say, but
yeah,
there's
that's cool.
definitely things in the pipeline, obviously with your album, like with the album coming out, and then with like we've sort of got like a new team
Yeah,
behind the band as well, which is like helping us, obviously like in sort of like just trying to reach the next level, I guess, in whatever ways they can, like working closely with us, because we've always done everything like pretty much ourselves, and it now to like basically we sort of felt like we reached the ceiling of being able to do 100% of the things ourselves,
yeah.
and like you can get very far from doing that, but it's like unfortunately it seems like you have to like be in some sort of like weird little club. I mean, to be like
I can
accepted
definitely
onto like
sense that. Yeah,
onto stuff like, and it's so like they like the team sort of like approached us, and we were pretty hesitant about it. Do you know what I mean? Just at first, because we're like, well, what is it actually going to offer? But it's a very like good relationship. We work it out. Do you know what I mean? And we still do like everything pretty much ourselves, and it's just like the things that we're unable to do that they help with, which is, and it's like if we want to do it as like a full career and like try and as best to continue to do it as a job, you know what I mean, and obviously continue to get bigger, and just play better shows and like travel more, and just be able to do what we love doing. So for the minute it seemed like the best thing to do. So
for sure.
there's obviously like big plans from that side of it. But yeah, it's just now the ball's rolling a bit more because the record will come out in May. It means that like that stuff's like ever changing at the minute, so which is kind of weird for us because it's not really ever been like that. We've always been in full control, and we still are, like, obviously, but things are just moving faster or like in different ways than what it usually.
I noticed how you've had to weave around all these things
Yeah.
to sort of go, oh, can I say that? Can I say it? Yeah, no, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's obviously you don't want to go spilling any secrets, but no, that is really cool. Was there like a point where you kind of over the last, and I would guess from, like I said, because I sort of saw you guys pop up not long before Download Pilot, was there a point where because you're saying it feels like this sort of big boys club where, like that next step, was there a point recently at all where you kind of thought like, oh, it feels like maybe we've just stepped into that like realm of, because you're on the lineup with these pretty big bands,
Yeah.
does it feel a bit weird stepping into what might be this kind of next, this other world of music?
Yeah, it does seem weird. It's kind of it's sort of like finding your spot in it, but at the same time, I don't know. Like we've never really had that sort of thing before, but we've always like known all the promoters, and like they've always like sorted us out, and like we've played Download multiple times and stuff like that. So it was nice to be asked to go back, and then all that sort of stuff is just off our own backs, like just from playing for years, and like playing smaller shows that the people who book Download, they also booked, like back in the day. So we've always known them like as people and just as friends, you know what I mean? It's like that's basically the way that it's worked. And then to be honest, it was like after Bloodstock, it just sort of like it just seemed like everything just it's sort of like solidified us as like a good metal band. Do you know what I mean? Or whatever, that people should be like listening to, or I don't know. Do you know what I mean? All that stupid shit. Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh,
I know what you mean. You almost need that sort of like. Sometimes you feel like you just need that little badge that goes, "We're good,"
Yeah, and it's like we've always like thought we were sick. Do you know what I mean? We're like,
you got to.
Exactly, you have to. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it's like it's like you have to get the recognition from this certain thing, so that everyone will like give you the time of day, and it's like it's bollocks, really, isn't it? But
Well, yeah, it's obviously it should just be how good are you and what
yeah.
can you
Oh,
what can
these
you
guys are
do.
sick. Like, let's help them out. You know what I mean? But it's not,
Yeah.
is it? Like,
It's just
who
it's
have
I
you
guess it's
got?
business at the end
Like,
of the day.
yeah,
Seems like.
exactly. It fully is, you know. But and it's a tough game to navigate. You know, it's but like you said, it's just solidifying your like spot in the game. Do you know what I mean? It's like, no, we are like a good band. Do you know what I mean? And we want to like, we're trying to do it. Do you know what I mean? And like, you go to one of our shows, like the room will be full and it'll be wild. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, like, it'll be sick and everyone will go out, I've had a good time, you know. And it's not like, I don't know, we're not pretending to try and like be a band. Do you know what I mean? It's like we've been a band for ages.
Yeah, yeah.
Like actually been doing pretty good for ages, not to like blow my own trumpet or anything.
No, yeah.
It's just one of those things, isn't it? And like you said, it's like some bands, they look massive on the internet and they're not, you know.
Yeah.
So it's one of them. It swings and roundabouts, you know.
Yeah. I think I've completely lost my train of thought. I'm sure I had something profound to say.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's something I was going to speak about earlier anyway. The you're a bit of a drummer as well, right? That's something you kind of
Yeah, I dabble.
Is that something that, because I know, like, I'm a bass player, a guitar player that dabbles on the bass, but that's obviously kind of different because it's like big guitar and you can kind of play the guitar on the bass. Not that it's, you know, it's not as interesting if you do that as actually just writing a cool bass part. But you can drums obviously is a whole other. I can program it. I'm that typical metal guitarist where like I could program you some sick drums, but I couldn't touch. I could do like rock beat one with maybe a tom fit, like a sort of bada 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 da da. Yeah, that's about it. Like,
fair enough. Yeah. No, I actually really like playing the drums. So I can play in that. I play in like a hardcore band called Rough Justice. It's just like some of the boys from Chef.
Cool name.
Yeah. I just spoke. But like, when I was a kid, like my dad would just take me to the guitar shop like at the weekend because his mate like was manages it or whatever. So I'd just go up and play the guitar like just for hours, you know what I mean, or whatever, just like on a Saturday. And they always had like the rolling like electric kits and stuff that you could get the headphones and like you just mess about on, and like I always just thought it was cool, you know what I mean? And then so I just started like messing about on them, and it sort of just made sense, you know, to like that's how you do it. And I like, you know, listen to a lot of music, so I know where the kick goes, I know where the snare is, I know that like this hand on your hi-hat like keeps
clapping on the 1 and 3.
Yeah, that's it, exactly. Yeah, so you know, it's one of them, and then I guess it just developed from there, and it's quite good, you know. It's like you can listen to different things and find out what they're doing, and like, you know, if I you know, it's like if I just put those little offbeats.
See, I make those noises, but then my hands go in different places, you know, like I can make the right noises, but then my hands aren't at all doing what, you know. I can hear it, but I can't.
I don't know. I guess it's put me in good stead because now I can like really imagine like when I'm programming demos and stuff, like I know what is going to sound good with the riff that I'm trying to write, and I can program it. I can program the drums exactly how I want them. Do you know what I mean? And like I can imagine playing the fill or playing the beat, and like how like is it going to work if I program this mad fill? Like obviously Charlie doesn't really
always
like play. That's it. Yeah. But Charlie doesn't play the drum parts that I write. Do you know what I mean? He's basically just there so the demo sounds cool.
Yeah.
He'll like make his own drum part. It's basically like just whether it's going to be like a thrash beat or like a half time or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like a blueprint.
Just for the outline.
Yeah, he's like way better at drums than I am. Do you know what I mean? And way better than I am at programming them too. So
yeah. Well, I find like because we sometimes I'll quite often program drum parts, but you know, I certainly would never tell Mike like you have to do this. It's more like here's what I kind of thought this is how I hear, because you know you hear a riff and it's like, okay, well, how, you know, you want to communicate what sort of feel that riff has or that chord progression has, and what I'll kind of write out like a basic beat, and I won't put much in the way of fills. I'll put something like a placeholder so it doesn't just sound like, you know, part 1, part 2 without any connection. But like there's only been maybe 2 parts I've written where I've thought like, oh, actually I think that might that might be good, you know, like that might
Yeah,
be
yeah.
that might actually be
I reckon
cool
if you
part
play
just
it
to
sick,
stick with.
it'd work.
Yeah, so but yeah, other than that, I kind of I stay in my lane. I try to. Um,
Well, yeah,
but,
you don't want to be telling people what to do and stuff
yeah.
like that. Do you know what I mean? Even if you've written the song
Mm.
or the music for the song, it's like it's better to have like someone else's input, you know, or at least for something like the drums. Do you know what I mean? It's like their whole thing is drums. So
Yeah, well, I suppose that with the guitar, it's such a powerful sort of songwriting tool that you can very easily hear the whole song because you know you've got rhythm, you've got melody. Obviously, bass you've got that to an extent, but you can't quite deliver the melody in the same way in the harmony because it's much harder to get chords and stuff on the bass. And then
yeah,
drums obviously is much more limited in terms of if you're purely a drummer, unless you
yeah,
can hear the harmony, you know. And obviously vocals, you're somewhat limited in that you've not actually maybe got the rhythm and stuff, whereas guitar's that middle ground where you could actually get kind of the whole feel of a song without even having the other parts existing yet. So I think it's quite, I find it quite easy to kind of have all these ideas in my head, and actually sometimes you got to just let people play around with it a bit. So it might come out with something that
yeah,
you didn't think of. So
yeah, 100%. Yeah, and
yeah,
it's like, oh, maybe it sounds better with this beat, or maybe if I accent that certain part, do you know what I mean, on that note or whatever that you're playing, it changes the riff sometimes, you know. So I think things like that definitely, like I've been known to be quite precious about my songwriting, but
you're meant to be. Well, if you're not precious about it, it can't be. How good can it be? You know, like
well, that's it, I suppose, yeah. But yeah, I try not to be. Do you know what I mean? It's like
yeah,
I'll always try everyone's ideas,
yeah,
unless I've been through it already and
yeah.
come full
Try
circle.
inverted commas.
Yeah,
Go on then. You
yeah,
try. Okay, cool,
yeah,
nice
yeah.
one.
But yeah,
Yeah,
we'll try it, but it's
yeah,
not gonna work.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So there's one other thing I was going to ask you about. I noticed you go climbing a lot as well. I'm a
Yeah, dude.
climber myself. Is that something you got into like recently, or have you always done that? Or
I've got back into it recently.
yeah.
So like my dad was always like a climber as well. So when I was a kid, he'd like, well, my mum would like drop us off in the Peak District, which is like the
Oh,
national
proper
park.
outdoor climbing then.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
He'd drop us off in the Peak District, and like we'd do some climbing. Like he'd like set the route or whatever, and I'd second it. You know what I mean, and take all
Yeah.
the gear out and stuff like that, and then bits of bouldering and things, and then we'd just like run back. Or like when I was a really little boy, like I'd be in the like papoose, you know, like the backpack thing, and he'd just leg it over the moors like back to our house and
Wicked.
stuff like that,
Wow.
or ride the mountain bikes. You know what I mean? So, and climbing was always like quite a big thing, like in my household when I was super young. Obviously, when I started playing guitar, that sort of like took it over.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, and then like Sheffield's always been a really good place for climbing. Like there's a place called the Foundry, which is near here. Like this, I'm sat in like the Malevolence warehouse, and it's like 5 minutes down the road, and it's like it was like the first indoor climbing wall in Europe or something.
Wicked.
So it's
Okay.
like, yeah. So Sheffield's like got a big thing for it. Like there's a lot of brands that are from here, like Rab and stuff like that. You know, like
Okay.
outdoor brands that are from
Yeah, yeah.
Sheffield. But yeah, so I sort of got out of it for a long time, and then I've always liked it. You know what I mean, and loved it. Obviously, it doesn't always go that well with playing guitar.
Yeah, it's not the best pairing, is it? All things
And
considered.
mess your hands up and like, yeah, I don't want to
Yeah.
strain my fingers or anything, but I feel like when I go climbing and then I play guitar afterwards, it sort of helps soothe the tendons a little bit. You know what I mean? Because you keep them moving
Yeah.
rather than them getting like strained. And as long as I'm stretching and stuff and trying to make sure that I'm not going too hard so I don't get injured and stuff,
Yeah.
it's fine. And as I said, there's a lot of places in Sheffield to climb, and there's loads like new ones like bouldering walls popping up. So I've just been getting back into it.
Bouldering is a very millennial sport. I feel I'm very much
Oh, yeah.
I'm not technical. I think you're a millennial, but I think I'm not actually. Technically,
What are you, Gen Z?
I think I am. Yeah, the
I'm
one that climbs a
95.
lot. I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I don't even know.
I think
Am
96 is millennial.
I'm
I remember
95.
I looked this up and I realized
I'm
I'm like nearly a millennial, but I don't think I am.
96 is millennial.
I think no, sorry. Before, as in pre.
Oh, before 96. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, so I'm millennial.
Yeah. Just about. Yeah. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I'm a
just
Gen Z. I don't know if there's even another one beyond Gen Z. I'm guessing there must be. I don't know how long.
Yeah, there must be now.
Yeah.
who knows, man? Yeah, my
wonder
little
what,
brother's like 20 years old now, so it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I wonder what the music of Gen Z is gonna sound. No, not Gen Z. I guess the next one. I wonder what their music's gonna sound like. It's all gonna be It's all probably gonna be VR music. You just pop it into your
Yeah.
brain, and it's just
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Like, oh, that was cool.
All in
Off
the
a new
metaverse.
album in 10 seconds.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, just algorithms.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
probably. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, wicked. Well, thank you for coming and chatting. If
not a
you want
problem.
to sort of run the ads of anything anything you want to promote, or or anything that you feel like people should know, can be anything.
Just just keep an eye out for the new
Malev.
Malevolence tunes coming out. Do you know what I mean? It's not long to wait now. Thank you for your patience. Sweet.
Wicked. Cool. Thank you for coming on. And
Yeah, no
I'll
worries. Thank you for
catch you
having
soon,
me.
hopefully.
Of course, dude. I'm
Wicked.
sure we'll bump into each other again.
Yeah, I'm sure. Cool.
Yeah.
See you in a bit, man.
Nice one, dude.
Cool.